Yeah, I want to go deep and get your thoughts on what's happening with banking right now. And yeah, that concept of private property, we went into the blockchain space, Kim, and there's an incredible guy named Yat Su. He runs a company called Animoca Brands out of Hong Kong. They have about 4 billion in assets. They have a lot of gaming companies and metaverse, and he's a huge proponent, Kim, of digital property rights.
Oh.
Now, a lot of times we don't think about digital property rights. We think about owning our house, owning assets they can't take away from us, by the way, which isn't your dollar necessarily. Now he comes in and he says your digital property rights are just as important. And if you can't own things like your medical data, your browsing history, your identity, your digital property online, then guess what happens? You start to lose your freedoms as well.
Yes. Yes.
And again, I lived that because for YouTube had 2 million of my subscribers, 9,000 of my videos, 9 years of my life, and I didn't own it. They owned it. So guess what? They could take away my right to digital freedom of speech. So like this is all tied, and people need to understand.
Yes.
And so now with Web3 and the blockchain, I can actually own these assets forever, and they can be on a blockchain where no company, Web2 company, can take them away from me, which means they can't censor me. So I would say to everybody, all of this is related. And if you talk to the hardcore Bitcoiners, they love it because you can't take away an asset. You can't print more of it and dilute it. And that gives them a freedom, potentially even to speak more, because now their currency isn't being controlled. And
that's interesting because just one other thing is when we look at the assets that we want to own today, we want to own assets that the government can't print, right? The dollar is, where is that? We want tangible things that we can touch, feel, that are real, not fake. Stock market to me is kind of fake. It's all manipulated. The dollar's worthless, going to be worthless pretty soon. There's a lot of interesting things coming up right now.
Well, I want to get your thoughts on those assets. Just before we do, I just want to linger on a point that you mentioned earlier when you talked about UBI. You and Robert have always said that a paycheck is something close to a drug habit. It's as bad as a drug habit. And I had a drug habit for years, and I talked about it publicly in one of my movies. And it's a very dangerous thing that's hard to get out from under. You tell most people that, they would say, "Oh, that's a bit harsh. This is just the way I get paid." But if a salary is a drug habit, then what is a COVID check? And then what is UBI? You go from a gateway drug to like the most dangerous drug on the planet. Fentanyl is like UBI because, if a paycheck, you have to do some work. A COVID stimulus check is every now and then. A UBI is you wake up and you get it.
For nothing.
You are,
get it for nothing. Yep.
Yeah, for nothing. So everything about you is ultimately controlled. Yes. You don't own any assets, so you won't have control. And pretty soon, consciously or subconsciously, you are doing whatever the person that wrote you the check tells you to do. And that's why you say it steals your soul.
It's yes. I mean, it's like, who owns the gold makes the rules. And, I teach women about money and investing. One of the things I see is if the husband is the one making the money and she is not, then she oftentimes gets resentful because she doesn't want to have to ask for money. She doesn't want to ask permission, but it's the same concept. It's that whoever has, and I see money enslave a lot of people, not just women, but when you talk about a paycheck kind of enslaves you to your boss and to that job. I remember the day when we talk about the income statement and the balance sheet. So the income statement, you have your income and your expenses, and the job salary is always in the income column. And then you have your assets and liabilities on your balance sheet. I remember the day when I was always taught to focus on income, get a good paying job, get a raise, work hourly rates and work more hours or raise your hourly rate. It was always about income, income, income. And the lights finally went on after I had been doing a little bit of real estate investing and I had cash flow from my assets. The light finally went on that I was focused on the wrong column. I was focused on acquiring income when I should have been focused on acquiring assets, because those assets give the cash flow into the income column instead of me working so hard for money, then the assets work. So I remember that day very clearly, and I went, "Oh, I think I got this all backwards." And finally, I finally realized it, and it's like, okay, focus just on acquiring assets, and that's what we've been doing ever since.
So Jim Rickards has just recorded a video that's not available to anyone in the public, and he's going to be talking about how this upcoming recession is going to be fast, it's going to be bloody, it's going to be nasty. But at the same time, he's going to show you how you can position yourself to profit from all of this chaos. Now, we've made this video only available to our viewers. Go to londonreal.tv/Jim. Watch that immediately. I can't say enough good things about Jim Rickards. He understands the global economic system better than any guest I've ever had on London Real. His predictions are almost uncannily true, and you can learn how to profit from his vision, from his expertise, and his understanding of economics. So go to londonreal.tv/Jim or click the link below. It's an excellent, excellent look on what's going to happen in the future and how you can position yourself to profit from that. Jim is one of the best in the business, one of my favorite guests on London Real, and he's very, very good at predicting the future and showing us all to profit from it. So click the link, and I hope you enjoy. The greedy bankers are about to do it again. In 2008, they crashed our financial system and nearly bankrupted the entire global economy. Then they received trillions of dollars in government bailouts. And after, they demanded fat bonuses paid for by you, the taxpayer.
It turns out the banks haven't just been screwing the American taxpayers, they're also screwing over their investors. Turns out the banking industry is the worst place you could put your money, despite enormous taxpayer bailouts.
Now the bankers are back to take away your financial freedom. They lie and tell you that cryptocurrency isn't safe. They try to make it illegal for you to choose how to invest your hard-earned money. They lie and say cryptocurrency is used by money launderers and criminals. But look at the record. It's the banks themselves that launder hundreds of billions of dollars every year to the biggest criminal operations in the world.
Leaked documents have revealed how some UK banks have helped criminals, money launderers and Russians under sanctions.
American authorities discovered that the Sinaloa cartel moved $881 million through HSBC accounts as bank officials turned a blind eye to the illegality.
The bankers lie and say cryptocurrency is not a real investment. Meanwhile, the smartest CEOs in the world are buying billions and billions of it. The truth is that banks lie about cryptocurrency because it makes them scared. The banks take $9 trillion per year of your hard-earned money, and they are worried that they will finally be exposed. They're scared because crypto means they can no longer control your money, which means they can no longer control you. They are scared because you might actually understand your money and intelligently decide what to do with it. Now is the time for us to come together, fight back, and take control. It's time to educate ourselves, our families, and our communities. Because financial education means financial freedom. We know that cryptocurrencies will help us build the new decentralized financial system of the future. A banking system that is of the people, by the people, and for the people. A banking system where access to finance is a fundamental human right. A banking system that is free and fair and welcomes all humans on this earth. The DeFi revolution is happening. We, the people, can no longer be fooled. We choose to take control of our finances. We choose to take control of our freedom. We choose to take control of our future. Join us, and let's take back our financial freedom forever.